You're not a real man if you can't keep me entertained, she sneered. So, I packed her things and shut the door. Now, I'm thriving and she's the one begging me at parties. Hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks, I've always been the dependable one, the guy who shows up on time, pays his bills, and keeps his promises. I never thought of those things as boring. I thought of them as being a man. Stability meant safety, and safety was how you built a future. When I started dating Rachel, I thought she wanted the same things. She was fiery, charismatic, the kind of woman who could light up a room with a single laugh. Everyone loved her. She loved attention. At first I figured that was fine. Opposites attract, right? I'd be the grounded one. She'd be the spark. For the first year or so, it worked. She called me her rock, and I took pride in that. I worked hard, saved money, and started planning our next steps. I wasn't flashy, but I made sure she never had to worry about anything. Rent was paid, fridge was stocked, car, insurance covered. She could chase her passions because I was holding it all together. But as time went on, those little compliments about me being reliable turned into complaints. You never do anything spontaneous, she'd say while scrolling on her phone. Or, why can't you be more like Kyle? He surprises his girlfriend with trips all the time. I hated those comparisons. It wasn't that I didn't want to take her places, I just didn't have Kyle's credit card debt. I tried to meet her halfway. I planned a weekend getaway once, saved up, and surprised her with it. She smiled, but then pointed out that the hotel wasn't Instagram worthy. Another time I bought tickets to a comedy show. She spent most of the night texting. The worst part was that I kept trying. I was burning myself out at work doing overtime shifts just to give us more breathing room. I even turned down a promotion in another city because she said she didn't want to move away from her friends. That one stung. The job would have double my salary. But I told myself it's worth it. Relationships are about sacrifice. Only the sacrifices never went both ways. Instead, her remarks got sharper. At parties, she'd joke in front of people about me being an old man trapped in a 20-some's body. When I'd come home tired after a double shift, she'd roll her eyes and say, "All you do is work. Don't you want to actually live a little?" It was confusing because wasn't I working so we could live? Wasn't that the point? The cracks kept widening. She wanted nights out. I wanted to save for a house. She wanted flashy gifts. I thought paying off our debt was smarter. She wanted constant excitement. I wanted a stable future. I remember one night in particular, I'd gotten home late, sweaty and drained from another long day. I'd stopped by her favorite takeout place on the way, thinking it would be a nice surprise. When I handed her the bag, she barely looked up from her phone. "That's sweet," she said flatly. "But you never think bigger, do you? It's always the same stuff." I just stood there holding the food I'd rushed across town to get, and realized she wasn't happy with anything I did. Not because what I did was bad, but because it wasn't flashy enough to feed her ego. I should have seen the writing on the wall sooner. But I held on. I believed stability would win her over eventually. I thought she'd wake up one day and realize that what we had was rare loyalty, trust, consistency. Instead, all I got were more digs, more comparisons, more little smirks when her friends talked about their wild adventures with their boyfriends. I kept asking myself, was I really boring, or was she just addicted to chaos? At the time, I didn't know the answer, but I was about to find out. It all came to a head on a Friday night. First planned on cooking dinner for us. Nothing fancy, but I had picked up her favorite wine, a couple of steaks, and even splurged on a dessert from the bakery she liked. I was tired, but I figured a quiet evening together might be good for us. She came in late, heels clicking on the floor, perfume sharp in the air. I thought maybe she'd smile when she saw the table set. Instead, she dropped her bag on the counter and sighed like she just walked into detention. "What's this?" she asked, staring at the plates. "Dinner. I thought we could have a night in," I said, trying to keep it light. Her mouth twisted. "A night in again?" I froze with the corkscrew in my hand. "What's wrong with that?" She tossed her coat over a chair and pulled out her phone. "Nothing. I guess if you're 80, that one stung." I put the corkscrew down slowly. "Rachel, I'm trying here. First thought you liked when we had time just for us." She laughed, sharp and humorless. "Time for us, or time for you to sit around like always? God, you're predictable." Something inside me tightened. "So being consistent is a problem now." "Consistent?" she shot back, her eyes narrowing. "No, Mark, boring is the word. You never do anything different. No surprises, no fun. Just work, dinner, bed, repeat. That's not a relationship. That's a retirement plan." I stared at her, not sure if she realized how cruel that sounded. "I work to give us a future, you know that. She rolled her eyes. Future, future, future. That's all you ever talk about. What? About right now? What about actually living? You're not a real man if you can't keep me entertained. The words hit like a punch to the chest. Not a real man. For a second I couldn't even breathe. I just looked at her, this woman I've been building my whole life around, and realized she didn't value any of it. You don't mean that, I said, quietly. Oh, I do. She crossed her arms, chin high. I've been thinking about this for a while, actually. I can't keep pretending this is enough for me. Something cold washed over me. What are you saying? She shrugged like it was nothing. I'm seeing other people. Nothing serious yet, but I need to explore, see what's out there. I can't tie myself down to this. I felt my jaw tighten, but my voice stayed calm. You're already seeing other people. She didn't even flinch. Don't look at me like that. You had to know this was coming. I need passion, adventure. You'll never give me that. I should have yelled. I should have thrown her out right then, but something in me just shut down. Instead, I walked over to the closet, grabbed her suitcase, and set it on the bed. Pack your things. Her eyes widened. What? You heard me. My voice was steady, almost too calm. Pack your things. You're done here. She scoffed like I was bluffing. Oh, come on, don't be dramatic. We can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, I said. Opening drawers and pulling out her clothes. You made your choice. I'm just making it easy for you. Her tone turned, mocking. So that's it, you're just going to throw me out because I want more than your little routine. I folded one of her dresses and placed it in the suitcase. No, Rachel, I'm throwing you out because you don't respect me, and I don't beg people to stay who don't want to. That shut her up for a second. She stood there, arms crossed, eyes darting between me and the suitcase. Finally, she sneered. Fine, you'll regret this. Guys like you always do, you'll never find someone better than me. I zipped the suitcase, carried it to the front door, and set it outside. Then I walked back in and closed the door behind me. She stood frozen in the hallway, stunned that I wasn't chasing her. Good luck finding your real man, I said quietly. He's not here. She glared at me, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. The door slammed so hard it rattled the frame. The apartment was dead silent. The table was still set, the wine unopened, the food getting cold. I sat down, staring at the plates meant for two, and let the silence swallow me. It hurt. God, it hurt. But deep down, I knew I'd made the right call. The first few days after she left were the worst. The apartment felt too quiet, like all the noise had been sucked out and replaced with something heavier. I'd catch myself reaching for my phone to text her, then remember she wasn't mine to text anymore. Her side of the closet was empty, her toothbrush gone, her perfume fading from the bathroom. And yet, I didn't call. I didn't chase. I refused to beg someone who told me to my face that I wasn't a real man. Instead, I let the silence do its work. My friends noticed something was off. Right away, a couple of them reached out, saying Rachel had told people we mutually agreed to take a break. Mutual, my ass. I didn't bother correcting the story. The people who mattered knew the truth. What did sting, though, was the show she put on online. Within a week, she was posting pictures of herself at bars, pool parties, and random road trips. Captions like "finally living my best life" and "spontaneity is the spice of life" filled her feed. I didn't follow her anymore, but mutual friends kept sending me screenshots. I stopped opening them after a while. At first it got under my skin. I lay awake at night, replaying her words in my head. Was I boring? Was I predictable? Was I really not enough? Then I started noticing something. While she was out chasing thrills, I had time to hit the gym again, time to pick up my guitar, which had been collecting dust, time to study for a certification at work I'd been putting off, time to cook real meals instead of just grabbing takeout. The silence, which had felt like a punishment at first, started to feel like freedom. I didn't have to explain myself to anyone. I didn't have to justify why I worked late or why I'd rather save money than blow it on shots at some club. I didn't have to endure little digs about being boring. For the first time in years, I could just breathe. That didn't mean Rachel was gone, though. Every so often her name would pop up in conversation. A buddy of mine saw her out with some guy who looked like he just rolled off a motorcycle ad. Another said she was with a DJ at some party. Someone else mentioned she'd been bragging about how she was finally dating real men. I kept my mouth shut and just nodded, but privately, I couldn't help noticing the pattern. 1 week she'd be posting about how amazing her new guy was. 2 weeks later the photos would stop, then another guy would show up in her stories. Different face, same captions, about adventure and excitement. Meanwhile, my life was leveling up. I passed my certification exam, landed a raise and started feeling good about myself again. I was getting stronger at the gym, eating better and reconnecting with old friends who actually valued me. It wasn't overnight. I had nights where the loneliness crept in, where I wondered if I'd ever find someone who actually appreciated stability. But every time I thought about Rachel's words that I wasn't a real man, I pushed a little harder because the truth was, her version of a real man wasn't what I wanted to be. A real man wasn't some flashy thrill provider who dropped money for attention and bailed when things got tough. A real man showed up, did the work, and built something lasting. And that's exactly what I was doing. Even if she couldn't see it, she wanted chaos. I wanted peace. And as the weeks went on, peace started winning. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. A few months after she left, Rachel's adventures weren't looking as glamorous anymore. The posts got fewer. The captions lost their sparkle. Instead of flashy group photos, it was selfies at bars with half-hearted smiles. Word traveled fast in our circle of friends. The motorcycle guy turned out he had 3 other women lined up and made her pay for most of their dates. The so-called DJ he used her for free rides and a couch to crash on, then ghosted her right before some big event she bragged about. It was like every real man she left me for turned out to be smoke and mirrors. The first time she tried to reach out, it was almost subtle. A text out of nowhere. Rachel. Hey, just wanted to see how you've been. I miss talking to you. I stared at it for a minute, then locked my phone and went back to work. No reply. A week later, another one. Rachel, I was thinking about you today. Remember that trip we talked about? We should finally do it. That one made me laugh. We should finally do it. I blocked her number that night, but she didn't stop. She tried calling me from a different number. When I ignored it, she left a voicemail. Her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Hey, it's me. I know we ended on weird terms, but I miss the stability you gave me. I didn't appreciate it then, but I do now. Can we talk? I deleted it without listening to the rest. Then came the escalation. She showed up at my apartment one Saturday. I opened the door to see her standing there, hair messy, sunglasses perched on her head, like she just stumbled out of last night. Mark, she said, trying to smile. Can we talk? No, she blinked. No, just like that. Just like that. I went to close the door, but she stuck her hand against it. Wait, please. I messed up, okay? I didn't know what I had. You were good to me. You were the only one who ever cared. I sighed. Rachel, you told me I wasn't a real man because I couldn't keep you entertained. Did you forget that? Her face twitched, but she tried to recover. I didn't mean it like that. I was just angry, immature. You know me. I say things I don't mean. You said it loud and clear. I said, voice even. And you weren't angry. You were smug. Her mask cracked. So what? You're perfect now? You think you're better than me because you got a raise or whatever? I shook my head slowly. No, I don't think I'm better than you. I just know I'm better without you. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I shut the door and locked it. That was the last time I saw her in person. But she didn't disappear. She sent long, desperate emails. She had mutual friends casually bring her up, saying she was in a rough spot. Her mother even called me once, telling me Rachel was just going through a phase and that I should be the bigger person. I didn't respond to any of it. I had finally learned the difference between chaos and peace, and I wasn't giving that up for anyone, least of all her. The final act came almost a year later. A mutual friend was throwing a big party, one of those milestone birthdays where everyone from the old circle showed up. I hadn't planned on going at first, but the friend insisted. Come on, Mark, you've been killing it lately. Show your face for once. So I went. When I walked in, I was surprised at how different I felt. A year ago I would have been nervous, wondering if people were judging me, but now I had nothing to prove. I was fitter, more confident, and in a much better place. And of course Rachel was there. I spotted her across the room. She looked good on the surface, hair done, makeup flawless, but her eyes gave her away. They darted around like she was searching for someone to validate her. When she saw me, her jaw actually dropped. I watched her straighten her posture, toss her hair back, and make a beeline toward me. Mark, she said, breathlessly, as if we just bumped into each other by chance. Wow, you look good. Thanks, I said evenly. She laughed nervously. It's been forever. How are you busy? I said, good, focused. She shifted uncomfortably, clearly thrown off by my short answers. I heard you got promoted. Congrats. You always were the responsible one. Yeah, I said. Pays off, I guess. There was a pause, then she leaned closer, dropping her voice. Look, I know I said some awful things before. I was stupid, okay? I didn't know what I had. I thought I wanted excitement, but all I found was a bunch of liars and users. You were the only real thing in my life. I see that now. I let her words hang in the air for a second before answering. You once told me I wasn't a real man if I couldn't keep you entertained, I said, quietly. You wanted chaos. I wanted a life, and you made your choice. Her eyes flickered with desperation. But people change. I've changed. I know what matters now. We could try again. Please, Mark. I looked at her, really looked at her, the same woman who had sneered at me, belittled me, mocked me in front of others, and now here she was, begging for the stability she once spat on. No, I said finally. We can't. You don't get to come back just because chaos didn't work out for you. Her face twisted, the desperation flipping back into anger. So, what? You think you're too good for me now? I gave a small smile. No, I think I'm too good for the version of me that tolerated you. That guy's gone. I'm not interested in going back. She stared at me, speechless, then turned on her heel and stormed off. I watched her go, feeling nothing but calm, not anger, not sadness, just peace. For the first time in years, I was free. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story?